It's the nuts and bolts of Monday Night Raw.
Well, howdy, 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 fans. This is old T Voeltz representing OneWrestling.com, and I'm here to give you the nuts and bolts of WWE's flagship program. That's right, we're talking Monday Night Raw. And tonight, we're talking the July 10th Monday Night Raw emanating from Houston, Texas. And boy, let me tell you what, right up front, Houston, we have got ourselves a problem. As you can see, my office looks a little different. You know why? Because this isn't my office. At least it isn't my regular office. My old office next door is undergoing a little bit of construction, so the people at OneWrestling.com had to move me over to this alternate office. Whether or not this is going to be my new permanent office, hey, I just do what I'm told, folks. We're in this together. We'll see what happens. Speaking of which, remember when I was talking about Pete, the guy in guest relations? He kind of deals with guests of OneWrestling.com, people we get to do interviews with. Anyways, apparently Pete has a little more clout than I thought, and I did receive a bit of a punishment for the incident that happened during our interview with Josh Matthews, which of course you can check out on OneWrestling.com's YouTube page. Anyways, because of the incident that happened between myself and Global Force Wrestling's Impact, Josh Matthews, they took away NXT from me last week. Now, the good news is it was just for 1 week. So I will be back later this week for my NXT review, the nuts and bolts of NXT, if you will. But again, my punishment's already served. It was taken away from me last week. Enough of that. Let's get to it. And hey, before I go any further, stick around till later for the top 10 as compiled, as approved by me and my staff. So please stick around for that. And please, going forward, guys, give me some feedback on what you hear tonight. We've been getting some really good feedback, and believe it or not, a lot of people agree with a lot of the things that I'm saying. So if that continues, great. If you disagree, that's okay, but let me know. There's a couple of ways of doing that. One is on Twitter. I'm at Travis Voeltz on the Twitter. Or you can do it right below here in the comment section right here on One Wrestling's YouTube page. Just leave a comment in the comment box. We like interaction. Let's get started. Right at the shoot, we had Big Cass turning sour on the entire WWE universe. This guy's attitude has really turned badly and quickly. He was calling out everybody, which may have been a mistake because none other than the other big guy in the WWE, Big Show. That's right, the Big Show came out and confronted Big Cass. Well, more like got into a physical altercation right away. And there's only one way to describe this brawl between Big Cass and the Big Show. Weird. It was weird. Does anyone else agree? To see those guys rolling around the way they were going at it, not used to seeing two giants going at it in the way that they were going at it. What do you think? Do you think it was a little strange to see them rolling around, grappling on the ground? I did. Hey, from there, how about a walk with Elias? I don't have my guitar. It's over in my office. You know, the one that's getting all the construction done on it. So I'm guitarless. Anyways, we had a walk with Elias, and he versus Finn Balor, who Finn Balor was still struggling with that collar on the way out. That's right. He was wrestling with his coat collar all the way out. But that's all right. We still got ourselves a match and a pinfall by Finn Balor. That's right. Finn Balor pinned Elias Sampson. Here's my question. Here's my nuts and bolts of this matchup. Why did this happen this week on Raw? It really seemed like we were building towards a bit of a crescendo between Finn Balor and Elias Sampson. Why did it happen on Monday Night Raw? Now, me as a consumer, I should be happy, right? a match of this magnitude, of something they were slowly starting to build towards the last few weeks, happening for free tonight on Monday Night Raw? I should be, but I'm not. I would rather see this build further until it leads to an eventual PPV, as we used to call them, or special event on the WWE Network. That's what I would rather see there. Hey, that's not what we got. From there, we got a limping tag team of the Hardy Boys. That's right. These guys are still beat up from last night's Great Balls of Fire, and they're taking on Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Well, the injuries from the night before proved to be too much, and Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows got the Duke in this one. That's right. They pin the Hardy Boys. Who wants the Hardy Boys broken? Raise your hand. I do. Boy, I tell you what. Now, granted, Jeff Hardy has taken a lot of punishment lately, but has anyone taken more punishment lately than Matt Hardy? This guy gets beat up week in and week out, and he got a big old gash last night, and he got another beating today. Guess what? I'll tell you who wants the Hardy Boys broken besides me. The Revival. That's right, the Revival finally made an appearance on Monday Night Raw. And we're not talking about backstage. We're talking about in the ring. And they put a whooping, a good old-fashioned whooping on the Hardy Boys. So good to see the Revival back on Monday Night Raw. And just with that inclusion alone, suddenly the tag team division on Monday Night Raw seems so much stronger just from that. Right there in that segment, we saw 3 tag teams. That's good news for tag team fans, which I am. From there, we had Miz TV as he presented the Mizies, I believe he called it. Well, of course, Dean Ambrose came and interrupted, and then Seth Rollins came out and helped Dean Ambrose after the Miztourage was beating down on Dean Ambrose. Could you believe it? Seth Rollins helping Dean Ambrose? From there, we had Sasha Banks and Bayley, the tag team, beating the team of Nia Jax and the champion, Alexa Bliss. After there, we had a legendary Goldust. That's right, the legendary Goldust putting his own verbal spotlight on R-Truth, which led to a match, again, for free on Monday Night Raw, something they've been building to, happening right on Monday Night Raw, as we had R-Truth versus Goldust. Well, Goldust got the win here. This was a very old school flow to this match. I really liked it, and if you listen to the crowd, they may have sounded silent at times, but they were quiet when they were supposed to be quiet. That's right, these two competitors, Goldust and R-Truth, took that crowd on an emotional ride. That's supposed to happen in a professional wrestling match. I liked it. That's why I say this has an old school flow to it. The crowd was quiet when they wanted to be quiet, and the crowd was up off their feet when they wanted them to be. That's right. They got behind R-Truth when R-Truth was making his heroic comebacks in the match. But alas, it was not enough as Goldust got the win. Now here's my question. Why was he bowing and such? And going up on the ring, was this a farewell from Goldust? It seemed very farewell-ish. I guess time will tell. From there, we had GM Kurt Angle in the ring, and he brings out none other than the Universal Champion. That's right, the man on top, Brock Lesnar. And guess what? He's wondering, who am I going to take on at SummerSlam? Well, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Samoa Joe? Because he got out there, and so did Roman Reigns. Let me tell you what, this was the segment of the night, if you ask me. That's right, this was intense, and all 3 guys were dropping low blows. And I don't mean physical low blows, I mean verbal low blows. You're going to have to rewatch this for yourself to hear the low blows that were hurled from all of Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Samoa Joe. This was a great segment. What's going to happen at SummerSlam? More on that later. This was a great segment, though. From here, both Kurt Angle and Corey Graves got that mysterious text again on their phone. Here is what I think is going to happen. Notice the commercials for the WWE Network 24 special on Kurt Angle. Guess who is a part of this 24? Never before seen on WWE television before. Dixie Carter. That's right, Dixie Carter. You remember her from TNA? I'm not saying from Global Force. Dixie Carter was from TNA. She's on that 24 special, and she certainly has a history with Kurt Angle. Could she be playing a part in this? Kurt Angle's like, this could ruin me if anyone finds this out. He's going to announce it next week. Whatever's going on, we're going to find out next week. I'm thinking it has something to do with Dixie Carter. Can you imagine? That'll get some people turning some heads. Whew. From there, we had another tag team match. This night was full of tag team matches between Akira Tozawa and Cedric Alexander as they took on Noah M. Dar and the King of the Cruisers, the Cruiserweight Champion, Neville. Well, the champion did not have everything it took tonight because Tozawa and Cedric Alexander got the pinfall victory on this night. Hey, folks, I miss a double. From there, this leads us to our main event of the night. But before that, hot off the presses, the top 10. That's right, the Raw TV, that's Travis Voeltz, top 10 as compiled by Superboy and the rest of my staff and approved by me. That's right. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. 10 through 6. I want to hear from you because it's a jumbled mess. The last few weeks, the wins, the losses, the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, it mixed everything up. So I want to know what you think, who belongs at 6 through 10. And you can do that on the Twitter at Travis Voeltz, or you can do it right down here in the comment section on YouTube on OneWrestling.com's YouTube page. So you tell me who's 10 through 6. I couldn't figure it out. My staff couldn't figure it out. It was crazy. Okay, number 5, after a big victory, which we're going to get to, Bray Wyatt. Number 4, Finn Balor, who got another victory. This guy keeps winning. Big things to come. Number 3, the Intercontinental Champion, now with the Miz Taraj in tow, and of course his wife Maurice. That's right, the Intercontinental Champion, the Miz. Number 2, still, he may have lost in a tag team match tonight, but as far as singles goes, he's still unstoppable. The King of the Cruisers, Cruiserweight Champion, Neville. And our number 1 contender, still, even though he lost the Great Balls of Fire, Samoa Joe. Now, you may disagree, saying Roman Reigns is the number 1 contender. He's in the running for SummerSlam, maybe, but he did actually technically lose the ambulance match to Braun Strowman the night before. So, still, number 1 contender, Samoa Joe. And that leaves us, of course, with the Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar. Agree, disagree? Let me know. Hey folks, this brings us to our main event. Before we get to that, let's hear the nuts and bolts of this main event. That's right, the tail of the tape. Now, of course, we have on one side, we have Seth friggin' Rollins, 6'1", 217 pounds from Davenport, Iowa. He's 31 years old. Of course, he was trained by Danny Daniels, and he broke into the sport back in 2005. On the other end of the ring, we have the Strange, the psychological superior, who knows, Bray Wyatt. Now, Bray Wyatt, of course, 6'3", 285, born Wyndham Rotunda, 30 years old. He was trained by none other than Barry Windham, among others, and he broke in 2009. So there's certainly no age advantage here, with Seth Rollins being 31 and Bray Wyatt being 30, both young guys in the prime of their life. Bray Wyatt has 2 inches in height on him, and he definitely weighs more than Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins definitely has the speed advantage. Notice I didn't say athleticism, because for a big guy, Bray Wyatt's incredibly athletic, but I will give the speed advantage to Seth Rollins. As far as experience, Seth Rollins, 2005, Bray Wyatt, 2009. These were very informative years, so that 4 years maybe doesn't make such a big difference. I guess time will tell. And that's exactly what we got. Now, we've seen this matchup before, but they did not disappoint. This was a very solid matchup, and this wasn't a 3 or 4 minute matchup. We actually got some minutes in this matchup, which is what I like to see. That's right, very solid matchup. But then the Miz Taraj, that's right, the Miz, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, they came out and they make a statement in the main event. You talk about the Miz Taraj coming on strong. They are making a statement in the main event of the evening. Can you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? Well, guess what? Ambrose comes out again after their incident earlier tonight, and he gets into this fray. and he saves Seth Rollins. That's right. Even though Bray Wyatt ends up getting the pinfall victory on Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose comes out and saves Seth Rollins from this beatdown that was coming from the Miztourage. That's right. Bray Wyatt got out of there, but the Miztourage was beating on Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose came out. Could we be seeing the beginning of a Shield reunion? What do you think? Let me know. Hey, next week on Monday Night Raw, we have Roman Reigns, the big dog in the yard, versus Samoa Joe on free television next week on WWE's flagship program, Monday Night Raw. I want you to be there. I'm going to be there for the nuts and bolts of Monday Night